Howdy folks, I'm Springy Spirea, spiritedly springing from sprig to sprig.
I'm Amber.
And here are more sprigs for us to spring to, straight onto some Reddit stories. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Would I Be a Jerk If I Left My Pregnant Wife? Sorry this is long, I just wanted to really make my feelings clear. I am a 28-year-old male and my wife is a 28-year-old female, and we have been married for 3 years and together for 7. Since we started dating, I have been clear that I do not want children. In fact, our first date we discussed it and she said that she had no interest either. That was until 3 months ago. She came to me asking if we could try, and I told her no, but I'm willing to have a conversation on why I don't want to, because I don't want her to feel that her feelings aren't valid. After a long conversation and explaining our feelings, I essentially told her that I don't want kids and that I don't ever want kids. That I love and I value her, and I understand that this could be something that she would want to divorce me over, and if that's how she feels, I won't stop her. However, I made it abundantly clear that this is not what I want, as much as I love her very much. She understood and said that she loves me no matter what, and that the kids don't have to define our relationship. To me, it seemed as if she had acknowledged my point, understood, and was willing to not have any kids. Well, last night, I was in bed watching some television, and she came upstairs with a big grin on her face. As she walked in, I smiled at how happy she was, and I saw that she had a box. I have a present for you, sweetie, she said. Aw, baby, that's too kind, I replied. She handed me the box and appeared to have something like a watch inside. When I opened it, my heart sunk. A positive pregnancy test. Surprised, she exclaimed. I didn't know how to react, but I asked her how she felt about it. She got into bed and snuggled beside me with her hand on her stomach. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, to us, she said. I kissed her, although inside I was shocked and I didn't know what to do. I told her that although I was surprised, I'm sure that we can do this if this is what she wants to do. Well, a surprise to you, she giggled. What do you mean? I said, laughing too. Well, you know that conversation we had a while back about starting a family, she said. Yes, I said. I knew that you weren't going to change your opinion, so I decided that the only way to get pregnant would be to come off my birth control secretly. My heart sank. We argued, and I told her that that wasn't fair and that I felt like she took advantage of me. She told me that I was fine with starting a family, just there, and I just don't want to admit that I was wrong and that I changed my mind. I tried to explain how that was a different circumstance. When we have intimate time, even on birth control, there's a very slim chance that we could get pregnant, and we should both take accountability, and that includes me. And if she didn't want to put her body and mind through a termination, I would support her and our child, as it was no one's fault that this child came to be. And I'm even sure that even though I don't want kids, that I would love this kid forever, as they would be mine. She got angry and went to sleep in the guest room. This morning I went downstairs and I was watching some of the news, and she came down and left for work. When she got home, I made our dinner and we talked. I basically went over my point again, and then the dinner ended and she got up and said, well, I'm already pregnant, so deal with it. I know that it would be horrible to do, but I feel like she's taking advantage of me and doesn't care. Also, the fact that I don't want a kid. Ideally, I would move back home to the UK, where most of my friends and family live. I would just be able to do this comfortably as my job allows it. And although I don't want to admit it, I have looked at some houses there, and there are some nice ones up for sale in my hometown. However, I understand that this would be a selfish thing to do, move and leave my wife while she's going through a pregnancy, and then not show up for my child because of the mistake that her mother made. I am pretty sure that I will leave my wife anyways, as she has violated a massive boundary, and I don't think that I can forgive that. But I'm stuck on whether I should leave her during pregnancy instead of going to therapy and giving her a chance. And I'm mainly stuck on whether I should not be involved in this child's life. But honestly, typing all that out, I just want to punch myself in the face. Honestly, if she was further along, where she couldn't get a termination, I would never be considering this. But because she's so early, I just think that if I were to leave and move to the UK, could just get a termination. But then that would mean putting her body and mind through something challenging, and I would be leaving her through that. I'm sitting next to her in bed typing this right now. She's sleeping. Sorry if I'm not being clear enough. Please ask if you're confused about anything. Would I be the jerk if I left my pregnant wife? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, you wouldn't be the jerk because what she did is reproductive coercion. She decided to stop using birth control without your consent and you did not understand what you were getting into when you had intercourse with her. And if you're planning on leaving her anyway, the best time to do it is now before she gets more invested in you and this happy family vision.
Yeah, I think that OP needs to lay it on the line that they are actually going to get a divorce. And also, I think that OP, you probably should get a vasectomy as well if you don't want to have any children in the future, because like you said, accidents happen and you need to take responsibility for your part in this. But, a vasectomy is going to allow you to not have to have that kind of worry or concern. No matter what, she really did a bad thing here by this reproductive coercion. It's going to be hard to trust her again after this.
Mm-hmm.
And what she ended up doing was very selfish and self-centered. She only thought about herself and not about OP here. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Inner Collection 5463 says, I don't think that you would be the jerk to leave, as she literally, by definition, committed sexual assault on you. She baby-trapped you. While the baby will be half your responsibility, if it's yours, because who knows, you don't have to be married to a lying manipulator. It wasn't a mistake. She told you that she did this on purpose. And considering that she lied about the birth control, there's a chance that she could have lied about a lot more as well. She's proven that if you're not on board with what she wants, she will lie and manipulate you to force you into whatever she is. That's not something that you want to raise a child with anyways. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for turning down a man because of his gold digger test? I went on a date with a guy who I met through a dating app. The date started out good and we had a great time until I asked him what he does for work. He said that he's a tradesman, and then I asked him what kind. He seemed to hesitate for half a second and then he said carpenter. I started asking him some questions like what kind of carpentry he does, furniture, structural, roofing, etc. Carpentry is such an interesting topic, so I was genuinely curious. But he fumbled and kind of tried to change the topic, which I was not having. He ended up admitting that he's not a carpenter, he just wanted to test me. He apparently makes a lot of money and wants women to like him because of his personality and not for his money. So he just has to be cautious and made up a low-paying job as a test. I told him that his personality is dishonest and he failed my test of being a decent person. When I was complaining to one of my friends, she said that I overreacted a bit and at least should have asked about his past experience, because he probably has been burned before and I have no idea what it's like to be a high-earning man. But I do kind of have an idea, as I work with a lot of well-paid men, and none of them do outrageous nonsense like this. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, he was dishonest, plain and simple. And also kind of out of touch with the trades, because you can actually make a decent living in the trades. Like, lots of carpenters are paid a good living. Like, yeah, they're not living like millionaires, but I just wanted to point that out. It's kind of like peripheral, but it also sounds like he's out of touch with like what regular jobs are like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is an important note, because carpentry, electricians, these are all jobs that you can make six figures in. Depending on the area that you live in, of course. Like, if there's a lot of competition, then things might not be as good. But there are a lot of trade jobs where they're just banging down the door to find tradespersons to do these jobs, right? So I think that he is out of touch, and I don't think that he should have used dishonesty. If he was concerned about how OP might react, he could have just said, oh, I don't want to really talk about work right now, or something to that effect, right? I don't think that he needed to resort to being lying or deception in order to test people.
Right, because if you found your relationship on a lie, like, you can't just expect, like, let's say it takes 3 months before he confesses, or maybe even longer. The entire relationship is built on faulty premises. Like, I get not wanting to be used for your money, but you also can't just like flat out lie to your partner about what you do and expect them to just accept it.
Yeah, exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Gray Blue Girl says, not the jerk. We have no evidence that he is really a high-earning man. It's just his word. But you do have evidence that he is a liar. And OP replies, the fun thing is that in the end, he tried to flaunt his salary and get me to stay that way. I earn close to X, and in 2 years, it will be Y, so you must understand why I have to be cautious. And I'm very generous with the people who are worth it. Gross. Well, and I kind of want to point out that this undermines exactly what he was saying before, right? Because, like, he doesn't want people to be with him for the money, but then he's trying to get OP to stay with him by tempting her with the money. Like, he failed his own test.
Yeah, he did.
And Extension Drummer 85 says, don't X and Y it. How much did this guy actually earn? And OP replies, well, we live in an Eastern European country, so these numbers will probably seem very low to Americans. I'm not sure whether he meant before or after taxes, so converted to USD, X is either 4,200 net a month or 2,800. For reference, you can rent a one-bedroom flat for about $650 and buy one for $140,000. Average net salary is around $1,150 per month. I earn $3,000 a month, and I live really comfortably, but very, very, very far from wealthy. So this guy wasn't even, like, rich. And Flying Not Fighting says, also, low-paying job, a good carpenter makes decent money. And Sea Ambassador 7438 says, people really underestimate how much skilled trade laborers bring in. And Two Lost Flamingos says, completely agree. Also, suggests that the dude is rich since he's so far removed from the middle class. Maybe in the country that they live in, the trade jobs aren't as lucrative. So that could also be a possibility, right? Like in the US, there aren't a lot of trade jobs, but if in whatever country they're in, there's no issue with trade, then that might also be why there is, not a demand for trade jobs. But it doesn't mean that you can still look down on a job, right? No matter what people do, it's wrong to look down on their job just because they earn less money.
Right, and money doesn't necessarily correlate to how useful something is. Like, we need trash collectors, and those jobs are not lucrative, but they're super, super important to the functioning of society.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk If I Don't Want to Marry My Lying Fiance in a Few Days? The event is already paid for by our parents. From the beginning, we loved each other passionately. Everything was almost perfect until recently when I found out that my fiancé has been hiding the fact that he has a child. I found out from his cousin who had too much to drink and decided to give a toast to our future marriage. His speech ended with some very clear hints that my fiancé had been engaged before and has a daughter from a previous relationship. Later, my fiancé confirmed that his drunk cousin had accidentally told the truth and that he has a 6-year-old daughter whom he's only seen once. Now I feel like I need time to process this information, and I don't want to smile like a hypocrite at our wedding and pretend that everything is fine. Given how intense and pure our relationship felt, I wouldn't have minded if he had already had a daughter. We had planned to have a large family with lots of kids. He was very excited and kept telling me how he couldn't wait for us to have our first child together. Now I realize that besides hiding the existence of his daughter, he also lied when he said that he wanted to be a father for the first time. What kind of father abandons his daughter? What kind of father will he be to our children? The event has already been paid for with financial contributions from both of his parents and mine. I feel like I'm in a nightmare situation that I don't know how to escape. I am afraid of disappointing those who love me and have done nothing wrong. I am 90% decided to call off the wedding and give myself time to think about whether to continue this relationship, but I'm tormented by the thought that I'll be the jerk in the eyes of everyone involved. I'm crying while I'm writing this. All right, folks, what do you think?
OP, you are definitely not the jerk if you cancel this. I mean, he has just shown you a very, very serious character issue. You know, if he is, you're right to question if he's willing to abandon one child, what's to say he wouldn't leave you and your child down the road?
Yeah, say you two get divorced later down the road and you have 3 kids. If he hasn't seen his 6-year-old daughter in years or only seen them once, what makes you think that he'll spend any time with kids when he's divorced? How is he going to be as a father when raising the kids? Is he going to leave you with all of the work? Is he going to help out at all? I don't know. I mean, like, you have nothing to measure this against at this point in time other than the fact that he's been an absentee father.
Well, and that's it. Like, when all your evidence points to he cannot be bothered to be a father figure to this child, it doesn't look good for the future of your relationship.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is that he represents himself falsely here. You're not going to be the bad person in everyone's eyes because You haven't done anything wrong. The only person who's done something wrong is him by being a liar and not telling the truth.
Right. Well, and anyone who would fault you is just in the wrong. Like, because his family may very well take his side if they, because people often side with their families. That doesn't still mean you've done something wrong. And hopefully your family will be on your side and be upset on your behalf that you've been deceived like this.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like, doesn't matter if his family is upset at you, if these people are people you'll never see again, and none of them had the decency to tell you about the daughter the entire time.
Right. Well, like, I'm glad the cousin, like, drunkenly slipped up because that was important information.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Clarabelle, 1980, says, you would need some serious conversations about why he never told you and the circumstances surrounding why he doesn't see her and who made that decision. Do you think that's possible in a few days? Has he even given you any of those answers yet? And Opie replies, he told me that he didn't know how to break the news to me because too much time had already passed and he didn't want to upset me. Every time I asked him why he didn't visit his daughter, he would go silent and then tell me that he wants to make up for his mistake with me. You can't make that mistake up.
Well, the thing is, he could, by visiting his daughter now, he could spend years, like, rebuilding this trust by being an actual father. It doesn't mean Opie has to stick around for it, but, like, he is actively choosing not to make up for this and be this child's parent.
Yeah. He's not upset about the whole situation, about not being a father to the daughter. He's upset that he was caught.
Mm-hmm.
And Goddess herself says, not the jerk, you have been blindsided and deserve time to process your feelings. If both sets of parents are reasonable, you will not be the one that they are mad at for the wedding being called off or being put on hold. And OP replies, thank you, that means a lot to me. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a knock knock joke.
Knock knock.
Knock knock who?
Knock knock.
Knock knock who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Wayne.
Wayne who?
Wayne, go away. I want only sunny days on my vacation.
Yeah, and that makes two of us, Jovial Bob Sign. That makes two of us. And I have Mega Mint. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it involve lying.
A foundation of lies does not a stable home make.
I think that is a great quote. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.